Well, my undead brothers, it's been a nice night of partying and drinking, but I think I'm gonna go take a nap. I'm a little hungover right now.
Hello my friends, welcome back to Player Display. So today we're going to make a little bit of a left turn from superheroes and go back to Universal Monsters. I know, it's been a little while. And before you get into that, I really quickly wanted to thank you for a little over 400 subscribers. This channel's existed for a little over a year now, and we've amassed quite the army. So yeah, I'm really proud of this channel, and I'm really happy that people are enjoying the content. So thank you guys so much for sticking around. Anyways, with all that out the door, let's go ahead and talk about the Mummy accessory set from NECA. They've done a few of these accessory sets before. They did one for Dracula and one for Frankenstein, and I never picked any of them up because I feel like they would constrain certain figures to a single pose, and they've been a little bit on the pricey side. But as for the Mummy one, though, I found it for sale on BBTS, and also the more I thought about it, I realized when you see the Mummy in his gauze and everything, this is really the only time you see him when he's in the actual sarcophagus, so that just makes most sense for me. Also, I figure it's an accessory pack that won't take up a whole ton of space on the shelf, so really you can just pose him up, throw him in, put down the sarcophagus, and you're good to go. But also, it's not just the sarcophagus, it also comes with this little chest over here, I believe. Actually, this entire mosaic here, I don't think it's an artistic rendering. I believe it's actual shots of the figure and the accessories with a filter put on top of it. You can tell when we look really closely in the packaging and we look at the mummy's elbows, you see those little gaps right there, just above the elbow, and then you see another one there. So yeah, I think this is an actual shot of the actual accessories and props. So that's pretty interesting. But I guess we're talking about the box now, so let's just go ahead and continue. Over on this side, we have the mummy once again, now peeking out of the sarcophagus, still taking his nap. Off to this side, you have the sarcophagus itself, looking absolutely beautiful. That's what convinces me this is probably the best value accessory pack of the three so far. The paintwork that's going to go into this piece here. And on the back, we have a better look at all the different accessories that do come in this box. I mean, it's a huge box, so I'd hope there'd be more than just a sarcophagus and the box, but then again, I got it on sale, so totally acceptable. Of course, we have Imhotep crawling out of the sarcophagus. Then you have him over here opening the chest, and he's here with the sarcophagus again. Sorry, we're going to be saying that word a lot throughout this review. And then we have him inside the chest, looking like he's picking up some paperwork or something. I know the Frasier movie's a little better than the original Universal movie, so I'm gonna do a rewatch after this video, most likely. With all that being said, I got Betsy over here, and we're gonna open this box and just see what's inside. So, simple little tab on the top. It's NECA, of course, we're not gonna make things too difficult for us. Not like McFarlane, you know? Todd! Pop open the top. Ooh, okay. So, it looks like we have a lot of plastic bubble action, so I know we're working in a very confined space here, but slide this open. Okay, I see what they got going on here. Whoa. Is that a diorama I see? Let's check that out soon. So here's everything not yet taken out of the bubble. So we have the two halves of the sarcophagus, and it looks like we have the chest, which needs to be assembled. And then we got a diorama here. I believe that's what this is. In fact, let's check that out first. A little bit of tape. Flip this plastic open. There we go. Slide this out. It's a very good cardstock. It doesn't feel flimsy. It doesn't feel like it's gonna start flopping over or anything like that. It feels very nice. Oh, check that out, man! It's just a whole bunch of hieroglyphics and stuff. That looks really good. I love that. I like how it's not confined to a specific setting or anything. It could be in any tomb, any pyramid, or whatever you like. And it doesn't just have to go with this specific mummy. It could be with any figures you like, maybe mythic legions or something like that. So this is great. This could go with a lot of different things. Now I'm going to have to take the time to pop out every element of this packaging, so give me a minute here, and then we'll see what it's all about. Alright, so let's take our time to look at each element of this pack. First thing we have here, as we saw already, is the backdrop, and fiddling around with it, I noticed that it stands up great, but the two folds on the outside tend to go in, and I'm a little reluctant to bend them back because I feel like it would break the cardstock because it's so stiff. So I guess it's just a matter of training it a little bit. Just keep pressing it a tad back without going too far, and then hopefully it would stretch out a little more. Like, that helped a little bit, but still, it kind of folds in a bit. So you might want to get, like, I don't know, some clips down here or a few weights to push those ends back a little bit. I mean, that would actually help to accentuate this diorama a little bit. If you got, like, two like sandy looking rocks or something like that. That would help to push it back a tad. But for me, I could just simply, this is what I do for a lot of the thumbnails, just pull the desk back and then pinch it inside, and then it should stay. Yeah, okay, so that's an option for you, depending on what your setup is. But there we go. Now we got a nice straight out diorama for this set. Next thing we have here is we got this chest, which comes in two parts over here. So we have the lower part and the upper portion here. Unfortunately, it doesn't hinge open and close, which I feel like would have been great. So as you can see here, we have a simulated hinge right here with some little characters going on. We'll actually push in for that right there. So you can see there's some inscriptions, but man, if you look at both of these pieces together, the details are absolutely immaculate. It looks like it's painted in gold and then it's got a black wash, or maybe the other way around, but that prevails throughout this entire thing, and it looks absolutely beautiful. I think definitely worth getting this set on sale, just because you don't have any joints or anything, or any special engineering to speak of, but I think the true value, as I've said, in this pack is the paint, and they did an absolutely fantastic job. So as for assembling this chest, all you need to do is be sure you got the two hinges towards the bare side of the top, and then just slot it together, and it clicks in very nicely. You see that it's got the indent, so it's not shuffling off or anything like that. It just stays there, and it looks really good. So we can prop that down. And there we go. We got our other piece of our mummy diorama. The last thing we have here, the piece de resistance, the reason why you're getting this pack, is the sarcophagus. And this thing is a lot bigger than I thought. Not in terms of height, it's pretty much where I expected it to be. But if we turn it to the side, it is quite wide, as you could see here, when you put the two pieces together. So let's just take a little gander at all the paint details that they got here, because it really is fantastic to look at. They put in a lot of little tricks here. I mean, firstly, as for the base paint they did, it is incredible. You have the different blues, the yellows, the gold, of course. It's looking absolutely regal and spectacular looking. It's just a great piece, but as you can tell, they went a little bit further beyond that. They did a little bit of weathering as well. You see there's a little bit of silver up here on the chest, and you also have this little speckling of brown. The light makes it a little hard to see, but yeah, a little bit of brown over there. To simulate some dirt, some soot, also going down towards the feet as well, if you can call them feet. But yeah, you got more on the side, got some wings, more inscriptions off to the sides, and it's beautiful. It's a really great looking piece. On the back, nothing going on, not that there really needs to be, it's just the slate gold, but kind of neat to see the base color that this whole thing was made with. Then, of course, you can open it up. It's got that little indent right there, so that way it will fit securely inside, and oh wow, that's really cool. Hold on a minute. I'm looking a little more closely on the inside of the bottom half, and you can see that there are even more inscriptions to join Imhotep while he's mummified inside the sarcophagus. And again, that's the great thing about NECA and what they do. When they crank out figures from Universal Monsters, we notice more details that we didn't notice in the film, so that's just really cool. And you can also see there's a lot of speckle work with some sand, I guess, something like that. More inscriptions along the top, more on this side as well. And they go all the way down, which I think is very neat, at least on this side. On this side, it's a little more brief. It looks like it was continuing up, and then there's some weathering over here. So those characters there got worn away over time. So that's really cool. I'm loving that a lot. But then if you just want to click it back together, that's not an issue. Just plug it there. And there you are. It just looks fantastic. Now let's do a few tests. The first thing I wanted to do is bring out the original chest that came with the Ultimate NECA Mummy. And I believe this is supposed to fit into this main chest over here that we got in the accessory pack. So they would go together. And of course inside we have the scroll with more hieroglyphics, some beautiful printing work. You can see how it kind of matches up with the pattern in the backdrop that we have there. But I'm going to fold that back up, slide it inside, and there we are. So now we can go take the larger chest, open that up, take the smaller one, put it inside, kind of like some nesting dolls, I guess. Pops open a little bit because of the scroll. I'll work on that later. But yeah, it looks like you could totally fit that inside. So you got like a super security box. Inside that, you have a less secure box, and then you open that. Then you have the scroll. So I'm pretty sure that's the way it went in the film. I don't remember exactly, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, it's just another way to be a little more compact with this set. Now let's do some scaling options before we actually put the mummy inside. So here's Imhotep, and you can really see just how big this sarcophagus is in comparison to a standard 7-inch NECA figure. Very tall, very wide. This thing is a lot bigger than I expected it to be. Although I guess you could cheat. I mean, if you wanted to, you can get rid of that lower half, just take the top portion, and then just use that and put that against, and that would help to reduce the space that would take on your shelf a little bit if you prefer. Turn it to that side. It still looks pretty good aside from that indent going on. But now just bringing in another few figures for size comparisons. We have NECA's Nosferatu looking very good, Count Orlok, and I feel like even he would be able to fit in there. You probably would have noticed from the intro whether or not he can, but there we are. For the record, little trivia, I filmed the intro and muck sequences after the main review, so you would have seen that already. You have a little eye into the future that I don't, but anyhow, we also have Frankenstein, one of the bigger editions, Frankenstein Jr., or whatever, either way. And I don't think he would be able to fit in there because I feel like he's too wide. I mean, you could test it if we want. I mean, if you just get the legs. Yeah, he's definitely too wide for this sarcophagus, which is okay. He's not supposed to be in there. In fact, he has his own accessory pack anyway, so he doesn't need it whatsoever. But just for the sake of testing things out. The last one I wanted to bring in, if you don't want the mummy to be in there, but you still want somebody dead, I have Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat Skeleton, and he should fit in no problem. I mean, if we just gotta squeeze the legs together a little bit, slide him in, and then we can take the proportion, and then, boom, there we go. Now he's nice and secure. But of course, we want to see Imhotep himself inside of there, so let me do a little bit of posing magic and see what it takes to get him inside. As you can see here, I have Boris Karloff pre-posed to fit inside the sarcophagus. If you need a little help getting him here, then you can reference the box where he is so conveniently posed in the crossed arms and nodding off head look, so you could do that if you like. But anyhow, let's go pop back out and get him inside, and I imagine this will be no issue because it's fitted specifically for him, and I love the look of that so much. You see his feet are planted firmly at the bottom, and now if we want to close him up, although there would be no point because you might as well just not have the figure in there, you can close him up, and then you can put him to sleep for about 3,000 years. And even though this isn't an action figure review, an accessory pack inevitably draws out the curiosity of Star Wars The Black Series, Mechamuck!
Oh boy, I can finally sleep like the king that I am! Nice and dark like my cold black heart. Ew! Ew! What are those things?
That's about all for this mummy accessory pack. A pretty short review, not a whole ton to talk about, but still it is a very excellent and fun pack to work with. So the reason why I want to review this pack is, of course, they've been churning them out with each Universal Monsters release that they've been releasing, and I really wanted to consider the value of these packs. For me, I think it is a case-by-case basis. Like, I feel like for Dracula, it wouldn't be quite as worth it simply because we're not getting this type of paintwork going on. Like, I believe it's simply the coffin, and then he might come with more than that. I'm not totally sure. But I feel like for the value, on sale, this one is spectacular. I really love the paint apps. I feel like that's what makes everything here so worth it. And also, when you consider the figure itself, and how you really don't see much of him, Imhotep, in this form, except for when he is sleeping inside the sarcophagus, and then he's kind of scurrying away, and then after that he kind of goes by a different name. So for me, this just makes the most sense. It's a pack where you get it for a very specific posing option, you get him into that pose, and he stays there forever and for all time. Very much like the character when he's actually in the sarcophagus in the film, so kind of fitting. And you also get this chest, which is also nothing to sneeze at. It's a pretty neat little prop. Again, you can use it with various different figures or genres that you wish, and then once more you can put that supplementary chest and scroll on the inside, and the paintwork here is also immaculate. And lastly, the one thing I didn't even expect is a really huge backdrop, which is absolutely beautiful. I don't think I'll be using that to accompany my figures. I think I'll use them in the backdrop of my thumbnails, as I tend to use all these various inserts for, but it still looks really good. And it's very well printed, it's a nice tender hard cardstock, and yeah, it's fantastic. I don't really have a single complaint about this pack. It gave me exactly what I was expecting, plus a little bit more, and also I got it on sale, so that helps out a little bit. So pretty much my verdict on these accessory packs: wait for them to go on sale. I feel like without the joints and the engineering and all of that, it's not quite worth stock price, in which case it's the same price as the figures themselves, which doesn't really add up to me. But yeah, if you can get it for a decent price, and you know exactly what you're going to be doing with the accessories on the inside, like I did here, then yeah, I think they're totally worth getting. So there you are. That's pretty much it for this little review. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, then please, as per usual, be sure to
Like, comment,
Ring the bell to be notified of our latest arrivals. And subscribe. This is the editor speaking, humbly reminding you to support the pod Patreon in the description to guarantee new content every single week.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Rock on, and I will see you all later.